All right, let's do this here. Let's try and make some justice here. I'm going to declare a trifecta. I'm going to teach America where the Declaration of Independence, where the insurrection against Britain kind of started. This whole thing actually started for me back in 2018, where the local history of my town, they were trying to say that a massacre might have happened inside my house. So I was kind of curious, and I wrote to the fella. You know, I was trying to say, I believe my home is on John Stenton's land, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then it ends up going to somebody from the government from the from Harrisburg. You know, Mark Jonathan Sayer. He tries to tell me that he ended up finding my address and where it's located. And I'll show you that inside. But let me tell you a little bit about Stenton's massacre back in October 8th, 1763. They believe, a historian believes it was right across the street right there. I believe it's right here. As soon as you come up this hill. The first person to get killed in the massacre was a lady named Jane Horner, about 400 yards down that hill. In 1763, they didn't have matches invented, and the fire went out. So she was walking up the hill to come to the tavern, and there was 12 Indians there ready to ambush the tavern, and she was the first one to get killed, Jane Horner. And then, well, inside there was a couple British soldiers inside the place. Let's see. You know, I mean, earlier in that morning. This is from you can find this off the internet, off about Stenton Massacre in October 8, 1763. An Indian spotted John Stenton as he was getting out of bed, and he shot him. You know, and according to contemporary account, he was able to escape and run a mile before he dropped dead from a loss of blood. His wife and children were safe in the basement. Here I walk around my basement thinking, you know, the ghost or something like that, because I got old beams in the holding up the house from the old days, colonial, hand-hewn. And then the captain, look at that, Wetterholt, he was shot, mortally shot, but he died in Bethlehem. Bethlehem, can't see with the fog, but, you know, it's down on that end. But I'm going to get to that, because what I'm trying to say, I'm going to declare it started here on 3324 Howardtown Road. That's my address. Well, because this gentleman here from Harrisburg says that my address from the old days was on an old deed. And that deed, where's the first name of it? The deed comes from the Penn papers. Where was the front page of that? I just want to show you the front. This is a small part of it. The Penn papers are in there. And what it shows is Lynford Lardner, that track, which I was standing outside. I know it's tiny here. You know, if you Google Austin Electric where I live on this road here, where I was standing outside, you know, the peak here, it's at the top of the hill. And so he tries to tell me in his email from Harrisburg that I end up on track D. If you go through here with the Indian tract, I know this is a small piece of paper. I can't magnify it right now. But it comes out to be Lynford Lardner. I mean, within the track of John and James Allison. How do I know it's Lynford Lardner? Who is he? He's the brother-in-law to the Penn family who owned Pennsylvania. John Penn and all that. And they gave the deed, and this deed here, November 1st, 1741, they gave it to Lynford Lardner. They gave him this plot, 175 acres, where I was standing on top. They gave him this. In 1783, the Lardner family gave it over to the Allison family. You know, in the deeds, I go through the deeds in the book. It's all in there. But let me tell you something. You see, it all started after England and France settled the 7-Year War. I think they had crimpets and tea in Paris and discussed it in February of 1783. And they were going to tell the colonists this is what's going to happen. You know, they're gonna have, you know, the Declaration here in the United States. And but it takes time to send information. You know, they put it on boat. But that official proclamation by the king for the Indians to move to new areas west of the original line made via the walk-in purchase of 1737. That was made on October 7th, 1763. October 8th, 1763. That's the Stenton Massacre I'm referring to. I believe that to be a false flag event initiated by Britain, controlled America, the colonists. Stenton Massacre, 20 people were killed. This event causes the colonists to take up arms and eliminate the Indians from the area, even the Christian converts. This event caused the Paxton boys in the Conestoga Massacre. Now, historians know the Paxton boys, and then it moves on because, hey, this is Pennsylvania. This is the 13 colonies. Philadelphia, I'm a little north of Philadelphia. This is where the brains of all the colonies are. What pays for this? Well, on October 9th, the day after the massacre, Lynford Lardner himself, I found recorded in the Bucks County court records, he's in there asking a law to the Penn brothers who took over, is noted to ask for money to start a militia and kill Indians of any age, sex, money for scalps. That's the way they did it back then. Because let me tell you, in the Declaration of Independence, one line in the Declaration of Independence, he has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and he has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an indistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. Well, both sides really do the same thing, and you know, Stenton Massacre, I'm trying to say it's the same thing. How did this all start? Well, when I go back here, first of all, people in Allentown, which is a little south of my area, know within, I think it's Cedar Park, there's a old colonial building inside there. That's Lynford Lardner's hunting cabin. This would have been probably his furthest most hunting cabin. I'm trying to say this is Stenton Massacre. Why do I even say that? Well, the road that's on here, which I'm about to show you, is actually the walk-in purchase of 1737. And they walk for about 39 miles. You can't see it from here, but there's a river down there about 20 miles from where I'm at, maybe 15. And you know, they had to cross the river. They forwarded across, you know, via a raft and rope. But that was the only place they used help. They crossed the creeks on their own and they ran. All the runners. And they came up this way and they used a compass. Now I asked local people, where's the walk-in purchase? Where'd they rest? They got a sign down there about 2 miles away, and they got another sign, you know, about another 2 miles away, and they say, hey, somewhere in between, they rested on the walk-in purchase. They know where they started in Wrightsville. They know where they ended all the way up north, you know, the next day after they rested, because this is the walk-in purchase pit stop, I'm trying to tell you. Right here on the top, if you could see this plateau here, right here's the top, because after they walk the whole day and it's starting to get dark, it's time to bivouac. All right, and I'm going to prove it's right here at the top of the hill. Local historians have commented that they believe they're next to the creek. There's a creek at the bottom of the hill down there, which they eventually crossed the next morning. But you know, and it makes sense. You know, you want to camp near water, but you got to remember that the three walkers, you know, the runners, Edward Marshall, Solomon Jennings, and Ed Yates, they came with Timothy Smith, John Chapman, Alexander Brown, Nicholas Skull, Benjamin Eastburn, John Hyder, Ephraim Goodwin, Joseph Knowles, Thomas Furness, and James Steele, plus 3 Native Americans, 3 Indians came, John Combush, Joe Tunham, and Tom, that's his brother-in-law. You know, the Lenni Lenape Indians, it's a big group. They brought their water, they brought everything. But to prove my point, this book right here, History of the Indian War, it's perfect. Let me tell you what it says here. They pursued their journey by paths and marked trees till 15 minutes past 6 o'clock in the evening and extended almost into twilight. The quarter of an hour additional being for the time taken at noon. The 2 walkers, because Solomon Jennings stopped at the river, Lehigh River, the 2 walkers had now been kept 12 hours on their feet, and on the authority of Thomas Furness, Timothy Smith, with his watch in his hand, bid them hurry up for a few minutes, as the time was almost out, and a piece of rising ground was to be ascended, which they did so briskly. that when he announced its expiration, Marshall, who won the race, Ed Marshall, clasped a sapling to support himself. The sheriff asked him what was the matter, when he said he was nearly gone and could not have proceeded much further. Well, hey, you walk 39 miles, and the rest of the guys following, they're on horses, and they're following these guys. The walk and purchase, why the Native Americans are pissed off? Because they're used to walking. Hunt the squirrel, take a time, smoke the peace pipe. But no. This is the since the world's been turning, the world's been burning, and there's a machine pushing in, and they ran as fast as they can. And the walk and purchase, which, some people think it's near the creek. Now, I know you're not going to see it here, but there's a creek at the bottom, and they're not near the creek. Look, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And that's what's going on, a straight line. With the aid of Google Maps and GPS and compass, listen, and even the recorded compass directions given by Eastburn. Benjamin Eastburn was the leader of the chain carrier. That's how they measured things back then. These exactly measured. Look, when you cross the Lehigh River here, you got to take you take the raft across. These angles, you have to, because there's valleys where the creeks run, you have to go this way, then come up. That's where I'm at here, at the top of this hill. They had to come this way. They didn't go this way. There's a ravine here. There's water. You have to follow this route. You have to follow this route. This proves it. And that book of testimony proves they did not go near the water. They're just trying to go from point A to B. They're trying to get as much miles. And let me tell you something. They knew exactly where they were going to stop. They practiced this for 2 years prior. They were actually running this. Now, everything here was a forest. Everything was a forest back then, but they already had it cleared out. And you know what? When they did 40 miles and they knew a dozen men, they knew where they were going to stop that night and cook out and rest. And that's at the top of the hill here. This is the top of the hill. Here it comes. And the walk and purchase, it was something. It was never accepted. I think that they put a Stenton's Tavern in. Within 2 months, it was declared. They burned it down in 1763. They attacked it. I believe it would be a false flag event, something to rub it in the faces of the Native Americans. I mean, it's too coincidental. How could you tell me in 1737, the walk and purchase, they don't even know where they stopped. Here it is, straight line running right through it. You can't go to the left over there because, again, there's a ravine of water. This is the best way. It has to be up here on this plateau was Stenton's Tavern. And not only that, for a dozen guys to rest after walking 40 miles from Wrightstown, Philadelphia, and then the next day they're going to go half a day. And that's where they took the land. And then they took a right angle all the way up to the Delaware Water Gap, which along the Delaware River. And they claimed all that. Now, that really pissed off the Lenny Lenape. It pissed off a lot of people out here. And when 1763 started, that war, when it was all supposed to enact, it's the same event. So what am I trying to tell you, people? I'm trying to tell you that truly the Declaration of Independence actually starts right here in Allen Township, because documented throughout the American history books, they know about the Paxton boys and the Conestoga Massacre. They know. But what paid for that? I'm trying to tell you right there from this event, it's paid for. And that event comes from this event right away. And why does Lynford Lardner, of all the places to own, he owns 175 little acres. Right here is the top of the peak I'm talking about, where right here I'm trying to show is exactly within the old, the old Indian track maps. I know you're not going to like this one, but I'll tell you what, hey, I'm not trying to raise trouble. I just want truth. I was going through all the deeds and the records. And matter of fact, I got the descendants of the Penn family and the Lardner family. Oh, they're still here. Some of them probably work for the Allen Township Municipal Building. I just want truth to come out, And quite frankly, I mean, it is the truth. And all I want for this is, maybe I don't have to pay my taxes, and maybe you can send the boys over and trim the trees and cut the grass a little, I don't know. Why not? This is something big. This is the trifecta of fake news, the walk and purchase. Stenton Massacre, October 8, 1763, begins the insurrection where the Americans want to be independent from the type of from the rule of Britain, pushing around our native brothers or our neighbors, trying to make peace here, and hopefully there'll be peace in the land someday for everybody. You know what? That's all I can say. I don't know. I'm gonna have some fire water. I'm gonna have a little hit of the peace pipe here, and I don't know. We'll see what the heck goes on in life. God bless us all. I don't know. It's all true. God bless everything. Now that's just good old tobacco, and that's for Chief Lapa Windsor himself. Little bit of fire water. Salute to King Leonidas. I'm Sam Azar, and you have just been given the truth. God bless in Jesus' name.